Hey guys, welcome back to Reader's Corner with Kenzie, and today we are reviewing All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. So this will be it will have two parts. The first part, I'm looking at chapters 1 to 4 and just the themes that she explores in those chapters. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to read from the book because she actually explains what the intention of having written this book is. As the title, All About Love, New Visions, indicates, we want to live in a culture where love can flourish. We yearn to end the lovelessness that is so pervasive in our society. This book tells us how to return to love. All About Love, New Visions provides radical new ways to think about the art of loving, offering a hopeful, joyous vision of love's transformative power. It lets us know what we must do to love again. Gathering love's wisdom, it lets us know what we must do to be touched by love's grace. So that's how she explains the intention of the book. So from chapter 1, the title there on chapter 1 is Defining Love or Giving Love Words. And I thought that I had never looked at the fact that we actually shy away from defining love as people. If you were to ask anyone around you what love is to them, they would not be able to actually tell you what it is. But she comes and then she says that we need to define love because we can only respond to love in the way that we envision it or in the way that we see it. So, for example, I've defined myself as, for example, I'm very kind. I'm able to sort of imagine what kindness looks like and act towards that. So she comes and defines love from Scott Peck's book, the one that's called The Road Less Traveled. And she says that love is the will to nurture our own and another spiritual growth. And love is as love does. Love is an act of will, both an intention and an action. Will also implies choice. We do not have to love, we choose to love. And I think from that definition, then you're able to sort of see what love isn't, right? You're able to see that feelings come and go, while choosing is something that you actually have to use your will to constantly do. And then another thing, she speaks of how care is a dimension of love, but it's actually not love. The same thing about affection. But because we don't know what love is, we're so used to thinking that when somebody cares about me, they actually love me, or when somebody's affectionate towards me, they actually love me, when it can be the opposite. They can be affectionate but not be loving. So she says that many of us choose relationships of affection and care that will never become loving because they feel safer, while love is more risky in a sense that you constantly have to be choosing someone or something, whether you actually feel like it or not, whether it's you are in a good season or not, So the risk of love is that it's a constant form of choosing. And then she says that definitions are vital. They are vital starting points for the imagination. What we cannot see cannot come into being. A good definition marks our starting point and lets us know where we want to end up. So I thought that would be quite profound because I actually never looked at it in that way, that I failed to define love, and therefore I sort of associate love with other things that potentially cannot be linked to love. The second chapter, she explores where we actually learn love from. So from childhood, we are introduced into the concept of love. And then she debunks the myth that love and abuse can coexist. She comes in to say that one of the most important social myths we must debunk if we are to become a more loving culture is the one that teaches parents that abuse and neglect can coexist with love. And I feel like in the South African context, we actually have that culture where we believe that love and abuse can coexist. I mean, we wouldn't see the rate of gender-based violence being so high if there were situations where we knew ourselves to understand what love is, wouldn't stay in certain relationships because we know that love cannot coexist with abuse. But also she looks at the fact that we like to associate that we like to link love with maybe lovelessness with poverty. She comes to say that lovelessness is not a function of poverty or material lack. In homes where material privileges abound, children suffer neglect and abuse. And therefore, even in a house where you have everything, it's possible that there's no love. And she also just looks at the aspect of how love and discipline and punishment come into play, in that parents who are loving shy away from actually punishing their kids. They try their best to actually discipline them. So that was the chapter on where our love stories or our views about love actually stems from. In chapter 3, she comes then on to speak about how honesty is a vital part of love, and truthfulness, not telling lies. Amanga, guys, people like lying. Actually, in South Africa, we have a culture of lying. This is why our politicians lie so much. Like, they lie so much, and they lie straight up lies, guys. They're not even trying to hide it. It's not white lies. It's blatant lies, But then, she comes to speak about how there cannot be love where there's no honesty, because honesty and truthfulness allows a culture of intimacy. So to know love, we have to tell the truth to ourselves and to others. She calls us to dedicate ourselves to truth telling, and she notes that lots of us, we learned telling lies as we're children out of fear of punishment or taking responsibility. If you tell the truth that actually I broke that glass, bro, your mom was going to come with a beating. That's where we form the culture of lying, and we take that as we grow. But trust is the foundation of intimacy. When lies erode trust, genuine connection cannot take place. She comes then to also explore how the culture of advertising actually has a big influence in perpetuating lying. And I'm going to read an extract from her book where she speaks about that. She says that consumer culture in particular encourages lies. Advertising is one of the cultural mediums that has most sanctioned lying, keeping people in a constant state of lack and in perpetual desire. Lovelessness is a boon to consumerism, and lies strengthen the world of predatory advertising. Our passive acceptance of lies in public life, particularly via mass media, upholds and perpetuates lying in our private lives. Actually, now I agreed with this a lot, because that's what advertising does. And in this age we are in of social media, you're constantly being sold something. Something is constantly being advertised to you. So you start to believe that you're in a state of lack. Just because you are not using a Rimmel lipstick, you then want a MAC one. Just because you haven't gone to Cape Town, now you want to go to Cape Town, but you've been to Mpumalanga, for example. But you are being constantly fed to desire and to feel like you are lacking just because you don't have certain things. And that's an interesting view on lying. And then in chapter 4, which is the final one that we're exploring in this review, is commitment, and but she looks at commitment into let love be love in me, about committing yourself into self-loving. And she explores how working environments affect your self-love, and how there's a link between self-love and self-esteem. And she used affirmations to sort of teach herself how to love herself. But the one thing I actually enjoyed from reading from her was how she got to a point of the desires that she had, that she wanted other people to sort of give to her, the way she wanted to be loved. She actually started loving herself like that. The conversation throughout is, my love languages is affection, it's service, it's gifts, but you actually don't do that for yourself, but you expect everyone else to actually do that for you. So she actually pushes us into learn how to love yourself so you can be able to love other people. And she notes that it was a bit difficult for her to write about self-love because of how self-loving always looks like selfishness or self-centeredness. So she notes that one of the best guides to how to be self-loving is to give ourselves the love we are often dreaming about receiving from others. yeah, I think that is the end of this part of the review on All About Love by Bell Hooks. We'll do part 2 some other time, and please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, the next book review is on a book called How Beautiful We Were by Imbolo Buye. I'm excited for this one because it has a lot of environmental aspects involved in there, like environmental rights and land rights and all of that. So I'm very excited to explore this one with you. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye.